In Activity 2, What is a liquid?, students observe and measure a liquid in different containers in order to determine the properties of liquids. Students first pour a given amount of liquid into 2 different containers and then conclude that a liquid can change shape but not volume when moved from one container to another. You will need the following materials from the kit: Activity Sheet 2, 6-ounce paper cups, 1-ounce plastic cups, and graduated tumblers. You will also need to provide the following materials: paper towels and tap water. To prepare for the activity, make a copy of Activity Sheet 2 for each student. Fill a paper cup about 1/3 full for each team. Each team of 2 will need a paper cup of water, a 1-ounce plastic cup, and a graduated tumbler. Make sure to have paper towels on hand to clean up spills. To begin the activity, give each team of 2 a paper cup containing water and instruct the students to examine the contents of the cup. Ask students, what is in this cup? Is it a solid? The students should recognize the substance as water and understand that it is a liquid, not a solid. Ask the class how they can tell that this material is a liquid and accept all ideas. Then, guide students to understand that liquid is a state of matter that has a definite volume. Introduce the term volume to the class and explain that volume means size or the amount of space a material takes up. Remind students that, in the previous activity, each block they measured took up a certain amount of space, and that this meant the block had a certain size or volume. Further explain that, like the volume of a solid, the volume of a liquid can be measured too. Ask students, how do you think you could find the volume of a liquid? Students may suggest putting the liquid in a cup. Accept all ideas, then tell the class they will measure a certain amount of water using special kinds of measuring cups. Next, give each student a copy of Activity Sheet 2 and each team of 2 a 1-ounce plastic cup and a graduated tumbler. Remind students that they used centimeters to measure the lengths of the blocks in the previous activity. Draw and label an enlarged cubic centimeter on the board and point out that each side of a cubic centimeter measures 1 centimeter or 1 cm. Explain to students that a cubic centimeter, abbreviated cm cubed or cc, is a measure of volume in the metric system. Next, instruct students to pour water from the paper cup into the small plastic cup up to the 30 cubic centimeter mark. Ask students, what is the volume of the water in the plastic cup? Students should all be able to say that the volume of water is 30 cc's or 30 cubic centimeters. Then ask, what do you predict will happen to the shape of the water in the small plastic cup when it is poured into the tumbler? Students should suggest that the shape of water will become wider and flatter because the large cup is wider at the bottom than the small cup. Ask students, what do you predict will happen to the volume of the water in the small plastic cup when it is placed in the tumbler? Students should suggest that the volume will stay the same. Make sure to accept all reasonable ideas. Next, give each student a copy of Activity Sheet 2 and tell students to draw the water level in the small plastic cup and to record the volume of water in cubic centimeters beneath the water level on their activity sheets. Then, have students record their predictions on the activity sheet. Instruct students to test their predictions by pouring the water from the small plastic cup into the tumbler. Have them draw the water level in the large cup and record the volume of water in cubic centimeters beneath it on their activity sheets. Ask students, what happened to the shape and volume of water when they moved it from one container to another? Students should answer that the shape of water changed to fit the shape of the container, but the volume remained the same, 30 cubic centimeters. Note that a negligible amount of water may have been left behind when it was poured into the second container. To stimulate a class discussion, recall the results of the last activity and discuss similarities and differences of a solid and a liquid. Students should understand that both solids and liquids stay the same size or volume when moved from one place to another. Help students grasp that while a solid retains its shape when moved between differently shaped containers, a liquid will change its shape when moved. Finally, ask students, what are some other liquids with which you are familiar? Students may mention milk, carbonated drinks, lemonade, oil, vinegar, and syrup. Make sure to allow time for students to share their experiences. To conclude the activity, pour out the water and dry the plastic cups. Discard the paper cups if they are not reusable, and return all materials to the kit. For science background, reinforcement activities, curriculum connections, and information about the Delta Science Reader, please consult your DSM Teacher's Guide.